What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz and Wing here for our Monday Night Raw review for August 26, 2019. The King of the Ring tournament continued last night. Sasha Banks gave us a fire promo that was ruined by Natalya, and Braun Strowman take on AJ Styles for the United States Championship for a second week in a row. Are we heading towards Braun Strowman being, I don't know if he'd be the first person to do it, but one of the few people, if there have been anyone else, to challenge for three championship matches in one night. Last night's episode opened up with Sasha Banks. She came down to the ring, gave us a beautiful. We had to recap of what happened last 2 weeks with Natalya getting her ass kicked. Somehow Natalya's so-called dislocated elbow has been recovered enough to where she can wrestle. And yes, I know dislocation. I don't know about the elbow, but most parts you pop right back in. But with a dislocation, you're not going to be like having full-on contact probably in a wrestling ring, especially your elbow, for a couple weeks. And the fact that but Sasha Banks has been attacking that body part of Natalya just tells you that this match should not happen tonight. But Banks come out and she takes the mic and says she's going to speak, but she stops and then says, everyone wants to know why and where she's been. She's gone. She's been gone, out of sight for 4 months, out of mind, minding her own business and not talking about anybody, but all she hears is Sasha Banks, Sasha Banks, Sasha Banks, Sasha Banks. Then interrupts the chant for Becky. Banks goes on for a few to say people have been talking about how she threw a fit at WrestleMania. She did. How she cried on the floor at WrestleMania. And she did. She took her ball and went home. You're damn right she did. But not for the reasons that we have been told. Not for the reasons that have been speculated for the last 4 months. It's not because she lost the tag team titles to the Idiotics. It's not because WWE has been screwing her over for the last 4 years. It's because she was relegated to a tag team title match on WrestleMania and defending tag team titles that she did not give a damn about. While Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey main evented WrestleMania. Of course, she mentioned only Becky Lynch because Charlotte Flair's on SmackDown. But yes, that is why she did what she did. She came back and she had a plan. And that plan was to beat the living hell out of somebody who send that message that the boss is back. And Natalya was out there. She came out, she gave her a hug, told her, lied to her face that your dad would be so proud of you. Fans did boo Sasha Banks a little bit, which was fine. But she beat the hell out of Natalya, and who would come out but Becky Lynch, on cue, mind you. So she beat down, but how did that go? Becky Lynch got beat down and made to look stupid. She's hyping herself up. She's talking how great she could. I wish they would have dived a little bit deeper into this. And mind you, Bayley was on this show last night, facing off against Nikki Cross. And Bayley, there was no backstage interaction whatsoever between Bayley and Sasha Banks after Bayley probably was there and heard that the Boss and her connection to Sasha Banks meant nothing, and that the tag team titles that they willed into existence meant nothing to her. No interaction between those two. Yes, I know, in the greater scheme of things, there was no reason for them to attack, to have an interaction, but that was your former tag team partner who just shit over what you guys did, and you're going to do nothing about it? You're not going to say anything later on? No, nothing. It would have been great if they would have added a backstage scene where Bayley interrupts, runs into Sasha Banks. They have a few words, they stare down, and then they walk away from each other. But she's hyping herself up, and out came Natalya. We don't always have to have a ringside brawl. We don't. We don't always have to do this. We don't need to have that brawl in the middle of the ring or around ringside, the pull apart brawl. We didn't need it here. You have Banks give you the reason why, which was an awesome and beautiful reason, and played into people's reports of her and Bayley laying on the floor throwing a fit. They played into those reports and they did it beautifully. But having Natalya come out, ruining that, just didn't help anything. They brawl for a little bit, and the agents and referees pulled them apart, and that was that. Street Profits do their usual hype stuff. I still wish they were on NXT only instead of being on Monday Night Raw as hype men. With NXT going to 2 hours on September 18th, there is no reason for them to continue to be on Monday Night Raw. They should be focused on being on NXT. King of the Ring match, Drew McIntyre versus Ricochet. This match was absolutely fantastic. These two guys beat the hell out of each other. I will update the brackets right now, as we have some Ricochet and Baron Corbin going through this episode of Monday Night Raw and moving on to the next round. Next week we will have Samoa Joe versus Ricochet and Cedric Alexander versus Baron Corbin. If I had to be a betting man, Ricochet and Baron Corbin will be moving on to the next round, and Ricochet will be falling to Baron Corbin, because WWE is going to book Baron Corbin to win the entire thing. Honestly, there is nobody else on this card. I would say Buddy Murphy on SmackDown, because he's got that hot hand right now, and he's been part of one of these that he accidentally wasn't put into this big storyline with Roman Reigns and them, and has gotten a good bit of exposure. So I could see them making a star out of Buddy Murphy. But this is Vince McMahon, and Samoa Joe's not winning it. Cedric Alexander's not winning it. Ricochet's not winning it. On the Raw side, Baron Corbin is the obvious answer for WWE to get to the Clash of Champions, and the obvious reason that he's probably going to win and make our lives miserable for the next 6 to 12 months. When Baron Corbin makes it to Clash of Champions and wins the whole damn thing, you're going to realize that King of the Ring was a ratings grab, and WWE did not really care about the event. Anyway, good match between these two. They did mention, and they did on commentary, that Drew McIntyre has problem with guys who are a little bit smaller than him. His size, him going up against smaller guys, is a weakness of his, which was played into the factor here that this match went. And I do like the fact that the King of the Ring matches, for the most part, outside of Cedric Alexander versus Sami Zayn, which went about 2.5 to 4 minutes, these matches have got the time and effort that they needed to show that the King of the Ring matters. They ain't just, other than that one match, they are not just squash matches with, like, Drew McIntyre destroying Ricochet or Miz getting destroyed by Baron Corbin, which that match actually went longer than Cedric Alexander versus Sami Zayn by a good bit. That Cedric Alexander versus Sami Zayn seems to be the one blemish-ish, if you want to say that, on the King of the Ring when it comes to match quality. Good match here. Ricochet ends up winning with the recoil plus the 630 off the top rope after a great back and forth between these two. There was an awesome Claymore kick block by Ricochet, hitting him with a super kick for the 1, 2, 3. Awesome match. Samoa Joe will take on Ricochet next week. Back from break, and we see Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson drop the Raw Tag Team titles of Braun Strowman and Universal Champion Seth Rollins last Monday. So Schreiber is backstage with the Rollins and Strowman. This is from last week. They tried to play it off it was from this week. Even had Schreiber say last week they won the titles and everything. And this match, and the night before she even said anything, Lower Third said that last Monday. But she's talking to these guys as if this happened this Monday, and that Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman were here last night. That was not the case, as Braun Strowman was there because he took on AJ Styles. But Seth Rollins and Becky were both missing from the show because they were on vacation in Hawaii, apparently. Strowman challenges Seth Rollins for the title at Clash of Champions. He accepts, so Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins will defend the tag team titles at SummerSlam, not SummerSlam, but at Clash of Champions, and then later on in the night, Braun Strowman will take on Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. And right after that, we go back to the ring for the second of the final matches of the King of the Ring tournament for Monday Night Raw. The final 8 for Raw have been decided. Of course, Baron Corbin beat The Miz. Not too much of a big good match here. I mean, Baron Corbin wins with a end the days out of nowhere. Nothing else I can really say about this match. Miz's character as a babyface has been one of the worst characters of all time. His babyface character needs to just die 1,000 deaths. He lost in the King of the Ring. He needs to go back to the drawing board. Go away. Be with Maurice and your daughter and your other kid who I don't know what they named it yet, but go spend about 2 months with them, and then don't come back until you decide to be a dastardly heel. I don't care what his character's like on Miz and Mrs. That's not Monday Night Raw. That is a reality show that nobody cares about. Give me despicable heel Miz. Raw, like last year, between WrestleMania and I would say the next pay-per-view, or the next 2 pay-per-views of events, were the best matches that Miz put on as a heel. Baron Corbin walks to the throne, puts the crown on his head, grabs the scepter, and says, "You guys, the fans have voted." Corbin talks about a poll, and the fans voted for anyone to win the tournament except for him. He's never cared about what fans think and how they can't accomplish anything he has. Says he will win when he wins. You will hear it from him first. All hail King Corbin. Stands tall and raises that $2 scepter. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are backstage with Kayla Rex, and they are not happy with the fact that they have to be in this gauntlet match, aka a tag team turmoil, to decide who is going to go up against Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman at Clash of Champions. I don't know why I keep saying SummerSlam. They did mention how they're not happy with the fact that last week they got a tag team title match out of nowhere, and we have to go and earn a tag team title shot. By the way, WWE has killed this year the gauntlet match, the 2 out of 3 falls match, and the elimination match. I don't want to see any of those matches till WrestleMania, after WrestleMania 27, period. They were outside. The Survivor Series, I think, would be the only time I would accept an elimination match because it's warranted. It's Survivor Series. That's the gimmick of Survivor Series. But outside of that, I don't want to see any of those matches ever again for at least 2 years, a year and a half, whatever. Nikki Cross versus Bayley, and I had a little problem with the fact that Bayley was here tonight, and Sasha Banks shit all over the tag team title reign and the tag team titles, and there was zero interaction between those two. Where was Bayley earlier in the night when Sasha Banks was taking a dump and pissing all over everything that you guys did and accomplished earlier this year with this women's tag team championship, even going to NXT and promising to come back and defend those titles? What happened? What the hell happened? They could have had some kind of cuts. They could have had some kind of backstage segment where Bayley runs into Sasha Banks, they have a few words, and we go on from there. But they didn't do that. I think that was a missed opportunity, and it's something they won't follow up with after that. Long story short, the last time these two faced off, it ended the same way this time. Bayley hit the big elbow off the top rope after a sidewalk slam for the 1-2-3. Nothing much here. Did this match need to happen tonight? Absolutely not. Why did this match happen? I don't know. Where was Alexa Bliss? Was she on vacation too? I don't know. But this match did not need to happen. I cannot wait till we get to October. The first Monday after October 4th is going to be where they reset, they go back to the hard cap on the brand split, no more wild card rule. The wild card rule should have died 1,000 deaths months ago. Luke Gallows, Collins, and Seth Rollins banned for AJ Styles versus Braun Strowman, which of course Seth Rollins is not in the building. Backstage, Braun and Caleb Braxton now, she asks about his title chase in the Clash of Champions. Braun says Clash will be a busy and historic night for him. He and Rollins will handle whichever team challenges them. Then he will take the Universal title from Rollins. Then he will defend his United States title and says that's what he calls a winner take all. And it's going to feel good. Unlike AJ will feel tonight when he takes the United States title for him. So he said Universal title for some reason. I think he just he just botched himself a little bit. There's nothing to stop AJ from getting these hands. Tag team turmoil match: Heavy Machinery, The Revival, the B Team, Lucha House Party, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, the Viking Raiders, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, and the makeshift tag team of Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. I give you two guesses who won this match. If you said Viking Raiders, you're wrong. If you said Heavy Machinery, you're wrong. Yes, WWE has 8 tag teams on this show. 8 tag teams right here. 7 of them, or I'm going to say 6 of them, are legit. From The Revival, the B Team, the Lucha House Parties, Heavy Machinery, Hawkins and Ryder, I guess you can say, Gallows and Anderson, the Viking Raiders. That's 7. Okay, 7 teams right there that are somewhat legit. 4 of them being former Raw Tag Team Champions. And you get the win to the makeshift team of Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. May I ask, why didn't they keep Chad Gable and Bobby Roode together if this is what they were going to do? Chad Gable and Bobby Roode were actually a pretty damn good tag team, and people were actually behind them. The Glorious Ones, we called them. And now we have Glorious Ones 2.0 with Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. Yes, Bobby Roode in his heyday, when he was a lot younger, 10 years ago, was Tag Team Specialist 101. This guy was with Beer Money, him and James Storms running roughshod over TNA's Tag Team division. But here he is again on Monday Night Raw, teaming with somebody else that they just throw with him, and he's going to win. They're going to win the tag team titles. I guarantee it. But you shit all over the entire tag team division by giving it to a non-tag team. The B Team, which I don't care about. The Revival, who are going up against the New Day. I knew they weren't going to win. Heavy Machinery. The Viking Raiders. The OC. The Lucha House Party. All tag teams. One of those tag teams should have won the match. But no, we're going to give it to this makeshift tag team. Ugh. By the way, the OC and the Viking Raiders both got double disqualified in this match. I was like, the way they were booking the OC and the Viking Raiders, I had a feeling in the pit of my stomach that they were going to have the Viking Raiders lose their first match ever. Fortunately, that didn't happen, and I mean, they haven't. The Viking Raiders, since making their debut, have not been pinned or submitted on TV, on pay-per-view, on NXT, on any takeover. They are the only, and no one talks about it either. No one says anything either. These guys are undefeated, no pins, no submissions whatsoever since they've been on television. And it's not a big talking point, and it makes no sense. They have been unbeaten for over a year and a half. Somebody tell me that somebody needs to, mention this on TV soon, because it's absolutely ridiculous. Of course they won't mention it until the Viking Raiders are going to lose. Natalia versus Sasha Banks. This match was pretty much just Sasha Banks. Which, by the way, I don't know. I think her husband does some great work with the gear for a lot of people. And if this was a Makazi gear, this thing was fucking awesome, because the black and blue, I don't know what it is, but the black and blue for Sasha Banks tonight just looked absolutely fire and fantastic. Just want to point that out there. Just one of those things that they caught your eye, and it's like, damn, that's some awesome looking gear. Talk some trash here. Natalia ends up getting beat with a makeshift bank statement, because Natalia was trying to get out into the ropes. Sasha Banks puts the one arm behind, in between her legs, and then she takes Natalia's arm and her injured arm, pulls it around her, and gets her to tap out. So Sasha Banks ends up tapping out Natalia. After the match, Banks stands tall. Banks exits the ring, but comes back in and applies the bank statement once more. Banks smiles while she's doing this and putting and tightening the grip. Then lets off. Banks exits the ring again as the referee checks on Natalya, and that was that. Michael Cole's like, what has happened to Sasha Banks? She's smiling while she does this. And it's like, she's gonna smile. She's like, yo. She's doing what she feels is right. She's making her statement. She's coming out here and just laying waste to the women's division on Monday Night Raw because she can. And yes, hearing Michael Cole say, it's boss time, is some of the most cringeworthy shit that you will hear all year. AJ Styles is backstage with Kayla Braxton, says Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were screwed out of the Raw Tag Team titles. How he can beat Braun Strowman with no help in his corner. Braun intimidates everyone except for him. Braun won't get his hands on the United States title, not tonight or any other night. AJ will give Braun Strowman just what he deserves after he beats him in the main event. Not in the main event. For some reason, they had Cedric Alexander versus Cesaro penned in for tonight. They plug Hall of Famer Steve Austin on his Straight Up Steve Austin show, which airs after Raw with Baker Mayfield of the Cleveland Browns. And then we go to Cesaro versus Cedric Alexander. Why this match is happening is beyond me. This wasn't a match of two losers in the King of the Ring tournament. This is a match with one loser versus somebody who has a match with Baron Corbin next week. Now, in this match, and it's going to play into the match next week, Cesaro gets Cedric Alexander's knee injured. You can just see the weight on Cedric Alexander. He can't put weight on his left knee. He's just sitting there. He's just trying to get through this match. He tries to do a springboard off the ropes to Cesaro. He can't even get up. He gets off the top rope and tries to do something there, but he's so slow that Cesaro beats him to it and gets him off. But he does win with the lumbar check for this match. I did not expect him to lose this match, but because he's facing Corbin next week. Here's the thing. He's injured. He's going into this thing with an injury. I can fully see Cedric Alexander winning. If there's a pre-match assault on Cedric Alexander, he's going to win that match because it's WWE 101. That if there's an injured body part and somebody attacks you from behind or attacks you before you start your match, that usually that person wins. I can think of Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne in the first ever United Kingdom tournament title match, and Tyler Bate got attacked by Pete Dunne before that match, and then Tyler Bate ended up beating Pete Dunne to become the first United Kingdom champion. Could we see the same thing this time around? Or will Cedric Alexander lose to Baron Corbin because of said injury? I just saw that and I'm like, of course this is what's going to happen. Of course we're going to have Cedric Alexander get a kayfabe injury to sell next week because Baron Corbin can't hang with Cedric Alexander on his own. Back from break and we see what happened with R-Truth, the 24/7 title, Elias and Drake Maverick, and one of the hosts of that show. I really don't care. Not talking about it. Just moving on. Backstage, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode with Sarah Schreiber. She asked about how this new team happened. Ziggler doesn't trust most people, but every once in a while you see someone else who has that twinkle in his eye and wants it just as bad. And you gravitate toward that person. In the title shot at Clash of Champions against Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman, Roode says they realize there's no one better than the team up within each other. Roode calls their team Destiny and goes on with the praise about how much they are in the ring, how good they are in the ring, and how good they look. Roode says they will become the new Raw Tag Team Champions at Clash of Champions and will absolutely be glorious. I say it now, they're winning the tag team titles. It would not shock me whatsoever that Braun Strowman is Seth Rollins is going to screw Braun Strowman and himself out of the tag team titles, and that's where we're going to go. Street Profits, Montez Ford, and Daniel Dawkins backstage. They talk about tonight's happenings, but Dawkins is ready to go to party on Bourbon Street. Beads and all, even though Mardi Gras in April, so okay. And yeah. Back from break, we announced the NXT coming to the WWE, to USA Network on the 18th. They told us this about 2 or 3 times tonight, beating you over the heads like, hey, make sure to tune in the Wednesdays in 3 weeks. Wednesday in 3 weeks. It's NXT. It's like, goddamn, we know. We see what happened with The Fiend from the Firefly Funhouse to now. So they're at least keeping The Fiend in mind. He wasn't here tonight, which is good. We don't need to see him all the time. But it's a nice thing to have a little reminder, But they didn't remind you 3 or 4 times in one night. Once a night is fine. Just like we had the promo from Sasha Banks and the beatdown of Natalya at the beginning of the show, and by the time we got to Sasha Banks versus Natalya, they decided we're gonna just beat it over your head that hey, this happened. Hey, you must have you're a wrestling fan, you're a WWE fan. Your attention span is so small that you can't even make it through the 3 hours before we have to remind you what happened earlier in the night. Ugh! Main event, Braun Strowman versus AJ Styles. This match was pretty much Braun Strowman beating the hell out of AJ Styles. Chad Patton takes a really, really nasty bump towards the end of this. AJ Styles gets a chair. He brings it in, but ends up eating a power slam. The OC come down as Chad Patton's outside, still trying to, get back up. He beats the hell out of both Anderson and Gallows with a chair. Chad Patton just at that time gets up, turns around as he's going to hit AJ with the chair. AJ pulls an Eddie Guerrero, falls backwards, pretends like he's dead. Chad Patton disqualifies Braun Strowman as he says, I heard the shots, I heard the chair shots. And Braun Strowman was disqualified for hitting AJ Styles, even though he didn't hit AJ Styles. He then took the chair and beat the hell out of AJ Styles. Anyway, these two are not done. So it's either in the next 3 weeks, in the next 2 weeks, that AJ Styles and Braun Strowman are going to have a no disqualification match, or at Clash of Champions, Braun Strowman is going to be very, very, very busy as he will defend the tag team titles, challenge for the US title, and challenge for the Universal title. Could Braun Strowman walk away with 3 sets of gold coming out of Clash of Champions? I don't think so, but Clash of Champions is going to be one of those pay-per-views, and it's like the King of the Ring is the only thing right now, and Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch is the only thing right now that intrigues me. I don't care about that tag team title match. I don't care about the Universal Championship match, and quite honestly, it's just Clash of Champions is not going to have that fire that they expect us to care about. But that is a very short version of your review for this week. I will say that Raw has had a better pacing on its show than usual. It's like the last 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks that Raw has paid. Like, I watch Raw and it's not a drag anymore. I don't know what it is. It's like the drag has disappeared. I know we've had the King of the Ring the last 2 weeks with some good matches that help bring that drag down, get rid of that drag. But it just feels like I got to the Braun Strowman match tonight and I'm like, it's almost over? I haven't felt like that in the beginning of this year. If I would have told you that in August of this year, Raw is going to start feeling like it used to feel, where it's like the show just flows more fluently. It doesn't drag. It doesn't feel terrible. It doesn't bog you down. And you would have told me I'm crazy, because like back in January, it's like you're looking at your clock and it's only 9:30. They fixed that. I don't know if that's a Paul Heyman thing or what, but the pacing has been an improvement. It's a start. Hopefully we'll get something else as we go, but we'll have to wait and see. But hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitch and Twitter at The France Club. Hit those follow buttons over there, and I'll see you guys tonight for SmackDown Live. Hopefully my mic won't cut out on me tonight. But my name is The France, and I'm getting out of here. I'll see you guys later.